Hi everyone, is the low in and is 100k next? In this video I will only talk about my preferred and alternative bullish scenarios on the macro, high time frame, medium time frame and the low time frame. So on the macro time frame I'm looking for this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, currently working on the final wave, which is then wave 5. And if we look at this scenario, then you can see that wave 2 bounced perfectly at the golden pocket area 0.618 and 0.66. People said this is the COVID dump. I simply say this is wave 2. And then we move to the upside in a wave 3 with the yellow count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then inside this bigger wave 3, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in green. The reason I like this scenario and is my preferred on the macro is basically because of this wave 4. Wave 4 bounced perfectly on the 0.5 taken from the low of wave 2 to the high of wave 3 on the weekly time frame. The low is also made exactly on the 0.618 fib time, which is pulled from the low of 2 to again the high of 3. And we had a volume peak at the lows as well, which can hint at potential reversal areas, because volume is not only always high during a wave 3, which is very bullish and impulsive in this scenario, but also volume peaks happen at reversal area. You can see the massive volume peak that we had over here, which can hint at a very important reversal area for then a move to the upside. And if we look to the upside, you see a target box over here, a little bit of a yellow target box and a white one. And the white is my preferred and the yellow is my, let's say, alternative target area. So what you're looking at is different ways of calculating a wave 5 target based on Elliott waves. Over here, the 1-to-1 and the 1.618, this is pulled from the low of 1 to the high of 1 to then the low of 4 with the trend-based fib extension tool. And the 1-to-1 is the more common target in this pool, with the 1.618 being the more rare target in this pool. However, you can also see that the 1.618 has confluence with this green 1.618, which actually is a common target for wave 5. These two, the 1.236 and the 1.618 pulled from the high of 3 to the low of 4, is a common and actually the most common wave 5 target area. And that actually makes also this 1.618 irrelevant as a rare target, because this is a common target. And then we have the 0.618 over here, and the 0.618 target is pulled from the low of 1 to the high of 3 to the low of 4 and currently sits at about 105k. So the more, let's say for me, alternative target area would be between kind of the all-time high and 98.2k, and then my preferred target area would be between 98.2k and basically 174k, so a lot more upside to come. If we then look at a little bit of an alternative scenario, I have this one here for you, where in this scenario this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't really like this scenario for two reasons. First, this wave 4 retraced to the 0.236, which is a rare target. Most commonly is the 0.382. Also, wave 5 was very shallow actually compared to wave 2. Wave 3. Usually wave 5 should be a little bit higher with its targets. Over here, if this is wave 2, and you can see how long wave 2 was in the length of time, wave 4 was very short, while usually if wave 2 is deep and relatively short, let's say, wave 4 tends to be longer and more shallow. So over here, wave 4, usually the longest retracement wave compared to wave 2, is very short compared to wave 2, which is something I don't like. And if this is then a bigger wave 1, so we have a wave 1 and then a wave 2, and then we go to the upside. Over here, wave 2, the most common targets for wave 2 is between the 0.5 fib and the 0.786. However, in this scenario, we hit the 0.382, yes, but we did not hit the 0.5, which again is something I don't really like. So the other scenario on the macro, this one, works a lot better, as you can see, with everything involved. Now, if we then go to the high time frame scenario, which then is the daily time frame in my case, I've been looking at this. So you've seen this scenario in a few videos maybe, where this is then the all-time high. We have a 3-wave W, X, Y, X, and then eventually wave Z. There's two things to say though, which you can read in the box as well. What I don't really like per se is that wave X didn't hit the 0.382, which usually is a minimum target for wave X. However, It's crypto, it's Bitcoin, it's volatile, and yeah, sometimes the theory books of Elliott waves are not always followed, so this can happen. And then wave Z reached its rare target, not the common target for wave Z over here, the 1-to-1 or the 1.236, but the rare target for wave Z. But then again, keep in mind with the macro wave, the 0.618 has confluence with the 0.5 fib on the very, very, very high time frame, the macro count. So that makes sense, right, for then a wave Z. If we then look at where we are now, we're looking for basically a wave 1, 2, and then eventually 3, 4, 5, where in my opinion, this wave 1 might not yet be finished. Some people have this wave 1 over here, but I'll show you on the more medium time frame count why I believe wave 1 yet has to be finished. But of course, there's a preferred and an alternative count. So here, wave 1 might not yet be finished. And we could be looking for a potential short setup because over here we have the very high time frame range, which is the volume profile that you see with the value area low of the volume profile at 28.8K. We're almost there, we're quite close, which can be an important support resistance area, including other resistances. Like for example, basically this whole area around 30K was support, which can now turn into resistance for then starting a potential wave 2. So short setup is entering around this area, 28.8K, stop loss somewhere above, we don't yet have a good indication, and then trading it to the downside for wave 2. Most common targets, once again, 0.5 till the 0.786. And then of course we have the massive long potential of entering around this area. Stop loss officially, the invalidation is all the way down there at 15.4K, and then moving all the way to the upside. So yeah, interesting indeed. And if we then go to the alternative scenario on this time frame, again, bullish alternative scenario, I have this as a 1, 2, and then eventually we're now already looking for a 1, 2 in a bigger wave 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 3, then we have 4, and then eventually we have 5. Now this is of course a lot more bullish because now we don't expect another retracement to the downside in a wave 2 and then a 3. In this scenario, wave 2 is finished and up we go. The reason why this is currently my alternative scenario has to do with the fib times that you see on the chart. So usually if this then so in wave 1, right, we have then the low of 1 to the high of 1, and if you pull a fib time from the low of 1 to the high of 1 and you toggle on the 0.382, you can see that wave 2 did not even hit the 0.382 fib time, which usually for a wave 2 is a minimum, and this would be on the 21st of March. So we didn't even reach the, let's say, usually minimum requirement fib time wise for a wave 2. If we then go to the medium time frame, you can see the following. Let's see, I have to go to the 1 hour for this scenario. So it starts to get interesting because Bitcoin is ranging outside of the channel at the moment, but it doesn't really matter for the count that we have because that's lower time frame stuff. So currently what we are looking at is a green wave 1, then a wave 2, and then eventually wave 3 to the upside. And over here what we're looking at as well is that this is the yellow wave 1 again, right? So wave 1 ended over here. So we are currently working on the more bullish structure, which is my alternative. But then wave 1 is finished, wave 2 is finished, and this is then a 1, 2, and then a lot more upside to come in a very, very bullish environment. So over here, we then have the most common target area again for wave 5. And in blue, we have then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in blue, which then would be the green wave 1. And in blue, we have the 1.236 and the 1.618 right there once again, pulled from the high of 3 to the low of 4. Most common target area for wave 5 as well. So the potential currently is there that we won't see another move to the upside. I would like it if it hits the high time frame range value area low, just for extra confidence. But officially, following the rules, this can be the high of a wave 5. Looks very rangy though for you know a wave 2. Looks more like some sort of a wave 4, but let's look at that at the lower time frames. So yeah, important target area here for a wave 5, and we would then be looking for a move down for a wave 2. Again, most commonly the 0.618 and 66, but minimum 0.5, usually maximum 0.786, providing us with a potential trading setup of entering inside this area over here. with some ladders, potentially stop loss somewhere above, and then trading it to the downside for a wave 2, with then eventually, and that is of course way more interesting, a bullish scenario where we enter in this area for a potential wave 2, stop loss below the lows, as that is officially the invalidation. Yes, it is a big stop loss, but better be safe than sorry, and then eventually move it all the way to the upside because 100k is next. Then we have the, and we're gonna, no, that's not important. Then we have the more low time frame count in this scenario. I gotta say, the lower we go, the less or the more unpredictable Elliott waves become. So let's have a look at what is happening right now. Also overnight, this is the 15-minute time frame, so we always get quite a lot of candles overnight as well when I wake up in the early morning. This video will be online after 7. Unfortunately, I started a bit late and I fucked up some of my first recordings. But yeah, this is then a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and eventually 5 as expected, then to the upside. Could this be the high of wave 5 instead? I'm not really a big fan of this being the high of wave 5. It's actually like a 1, 2, and then it's difficult to count a proper wave 4, like a 1, 2, and usually a 3, 4, 5. But you can't really count that, so I would prefer it to be part of a lower degree count, which is the blue one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's fine then. But then in the green count, this is still a wave 4. And as I mentioned in my previous video, what I would like in this scenario is for, you know, this is the weekend. We are ranging in a weekend environment. I would like price to take this low specifically, or at least make the low of this potential wave 4 during the week when the markets are open, because it's very rare for the markets to leave retail traders in their position and profit with the markets to the potential upside. You can see that the target box that I have on my chart provided a very nice reaction over here for a potential trade. And also the potential trading setup here is entering around this area, because for a wave 4, the most common target area is the 0.382 and the 0.5. No candle closing between the 0.5, as that is basically an invalidation. And the stop loss can be put over here, which is below the 0.5, entering around this area with some ladders and then trading it to the upside for a potential wave 5. And then after this wave 5, downside can eventually be expected. So one more scenario I actually wanted to show you, which I didn't talk about, is on the medium time frame, because over here what we have been looking at is one scenario, and actually forgot to make the other scenario. So we have wave 1 over here, the yellow wave 1, yellow wave 2, and then 1, 2, 3 for way more upside. But don't forget that I also have the other scenario where wave 1, this yellow one, is yet to be made, and that this is then a 3, 4, 5 for the yellow one, and then we have a yellow wave 2, which is going to be deeper, right? So we have a yellow wave 2, and then the trading setup will be somewhere over here for longs all the way to the upside. So I hope this video was helpful, insightful, valuable to you. I'd like to thank you for watching and subscribing, and I will see you at my next Bitcoin update at 1 p.m. Central East European time. Bye bye.